Good morning, everybody. We had some heavy rains. You know me, I try to take advantage of multi-species fishing. So the steelhead fishing is underway. We're close to the end of March, and a lot of fish have come up already and gone right through. This time of the year in southern Ontario and on the Great Lakes tributaries, there's only certain sections that you can fish all year, and it's usually just up from the mouths of the rivers and the lake. So we had wind, we had rain. Right now it was supposed to be pouring rain and like 60 to 70 kilometer an hour winds, but things have calmed down. So we're down here. I checked a first pool and I saw that the water was pretty clear. So we decided to come right downstream and fish some of the deeper water very close to the lake. So one of the things that I brought with me this morning, I stopped at True North Baits and I picked up some soft plastics that were poured literally last night for me to try. So when the water clears up, and today we don't have real clear water, but all of these, I call them bug imitations. So this would be like a centipede or a heligramite. You can see how flexible it is. These fished on a small jig head or fished on a hook. The size can be really important. Believe it or not, steelhead are a migratory strain of rainbow trout. Here's one that I'm holding up on purpose. It's a little smaller. You can see the size comparison here. So this one would be for clear water. It's a nice pink color. So when the water clears up, these bugs, once the fish stop taking eggs, and there's a time when it gets tough, especially in the middle of the day when it gets sunny out, these baits work really well. So besides the grubs, a lot of the guys, and including myself, will use small plastic worms. So these are plastic worms. I believe these are 4-inch, of the 3-inch size, and these are pink, which is probably the go-to color for most fishermen. So the way I like to hook them is to hook them right in the middle. So it's almost like a wacky worm rig, but I don't use the O-ring. So I just use a small number 12 hook and tie it right in the middle of the worm. And then I slowly jig my float as I'm working it so that worm has a wiggly, both sides of it, like a wacky rig, moves up and down. So if I am using roe when the water clears up, I like to use natural colored meshing or white. So look, I'm not a cigar smoker, but I'll give you a tip that Bill Selby put me on, my fishing buddy. This is a cigar tube, and I just want to show you that the cigar tube is the perfect diameter for the spawn sack. So here's the spawn sacks right here. These would be considered dime size, and these are both tied in white. Okay, the white material. I'm just going to put one away so the tube is not in my way, and I'll just show it to you in a close-up. So the white almost gives the eggs a natural color. If you were to use natural color, they'd look a little bit darker. So when I say natural color, I'm talking about the mesh. So it's almost like a peach color. So these cigar tubes are perfect because you can load them up. One tube will probably hold about 12 or 14 egg sacs, and then you're ready to go. So why don't we go down? I'm going to go down where the water's a little bit deeper, a lot of big willow trees, and we're right in the marsh. And we're going to see if we can get some fish there. Okay. Got a gorgeous morning. On the drive down to the river, I was commenting on how this was steelhead weather, and we've come down here. The water's cleared up even though we had quite a bit of rain yesterday. I just got my first fish on, so I'm going a little bit lighter using a different color spawn sack because the water's clear, and hopefully I'll get this fish in. Fighting pretty good, and then I'll give you the tips of what we're doing today. So it's nice to have a center pin. This is the bare center pin, and it's got the drag system. So when the weather's cold, I can have my hand off the off the rim spool, and if that fish wants to run like it did a second ago, it can take off as much as it wants. So usually when I get a fish closer to me, I let off on the drag. Because a lot of times if it's hooked lightly, when it gets in close, you can rip the hook out if you put too much drag, whether you have a spinning reel or whether you're using a center pin and you're palming it. So right now, you can see it's just taking the line out slowly. I want to make sure that it's fairly thawed out before I try to net it. You know, it's good to be prepared when you're out on the stream. So I did bring a net with me this time. And I'm going to see if I can get this girl in the net. It's a female. She's got gorgeous colors. I don't think she's been in the river too long, but she's plump. Oh. You know, it's challenging with a 13-foot rod. You can't reel in too much line. You got a pendulum the fish in, so you should have at least 13 feet of line off your rod tip. Got her into the net. I'm going to give you a quick look, and then we're going to be releasing this fish. So the one thing I'm always careful with any reel, especially a center pin, is to put the rod and reel down in a safe spot. So I'm going to put her on some grass. I don't know if I can show you this fish in the net. I'm going to try something that I haven't tried for a while, to actually use the net to grip the fish. But I don't know if I can do that. You know what? I'm going to very gently slide my finger underneath its gill plate without hurting it, because I'm not going to keep it out of the water too long, and then I can show it to you a lot better. So, look, isn't that a gorgeous steelhead? I know for you guys that love the steelhead fish, you'd love to get a female like this. She's pretty silver, but her eggs are pretty mature. I don't know if you can see that spawn sac. I changed color because of the water clarity. So it's hooked just in the roof of the mouth, which is classic when you're fishing for steelhead with a float, because that's the first place that you contact the fish when it grabs the spawn sac. So I'm going to give you one more look, then I'm going to let her go. Okay, time to release it. I'm just going to walk up so you can see it. And it's going to revive for a split second, and it won't take long and she'll be back off. What a gorgeous steelhead. Wow, beautiful release. And you know, I've got my rain jacket on underneath my vest. With all these apps that we have now, you know, you can really tell what fronts are coming in. So we checked a couple of apps to see what the weather forecast was like. And then I've got an app where it's actually a live radar. So you can see how far the actual weather system is. And you can gauge pretty well how long it's going to take to get to the location. So we're going to get some heavy downpours in about half an hour to an hour. But right now it's perfect steelhead conditions.